In modern IndyCar, you're subject to fewer and fewer intermediate ovals on the current schedule. Amid safety concerns and logistical issues, Indianapolis remains as one of the last big ovals that the series heads to. But tonight we'll be definitely heading to one of those speedways and Indianapolis later on in the season. We're heading to a classic, Homestead Miami Speedway, here with the first round of the 2025 Indy Elite Series presented by Catalyst 317. My name is Finny Nakuna, here with Connor Horn. Connor, glad to be back with you, not only in the booth, but also back with the series. It's been a long hiatus for, I want to say, close to about 8 to 9 months, but we're finally back with this group of drivers, and I'm sure they're ready to get back out on the track.
Should be a fun one for sure. Any mile and a half that an IndyCar goes to is usually a fun time, and Homestead Miami is probably one of the best tracks for racing you can go to in an IndyCar, so this should be really fun. We call it the 9th annual Indy 500 for this series, and that was really fun. I'm expecting a really fun race. I remember calling a race here years ago that came down to a last lap finish, and the crazy race. This track provides action. It really doesn't matter what car you come here with. It's a very fun track, and it should be a lot of non-stop action.
Should be a lot of non-stop action here. As you can see, the sun baited in a setting light as we are going to be heading towards nighttime later on in this race. The drivers getting last few minutes of practice out here on the track. Couple of drivers getting ready, kind of resting it up here. Brandon Trano up in the front, Jesper Orman, Jacob Oster, Mark Murphy, Tim Holgate at the top of the standings at the moment with just a minute and a half of practice remaining. A lot of bigger names returning to the series. Hamilton, Akabo Eze, Andrew Wood, AJ Musselman, Tony Showen as well, all ready to take the grid, as well as Alexander Van de Sant. We saw so many drivers across the board jumping up near the front and putting on a heck of a show.
Yeah, this is really going to be a show as well. You're going to see a lot more of that tonight, I would think. You're going to see a lot of slipstreaming. The draft is going to be important. Obviously, dirty air you're going to have to contend with, but you can use every part of this racetrack from the outside wall to the white line like you're seeing there at the turn number 2. You're going to see some snaking at some points as well, but you're going to see so many lanes being used and so many slingshot types of passes. That's what this track kind of provides with the long straightaways that it has, so it should be really, really fun.
Taking a look there, last season's champion Brandon Trano up near the front of the practice order, at least up where he arguably belongs. It was a close fight towards the end of the season, but he was able to just eke out ahead of Christian Steele. It was a hard-fought battle towards the end. It got very close, probably closer than Trano would have liked, but we'll see if he can match that dominance again for one more season. 12 races for this series, and ending with a trip to Indianapolis, as we mentioned before, as practice comes to a close. Get these guys out there on the track. 2 laps to set their fastest lap and set the order. 30 of 31 cars to grid.
Yeah, a huge field tonight, so we'll see if it ends up being a race between all 30 drivers with a shot at winning, or it could end up being a date with survival. You might just have to survive this race to get a good finish with how these mile and a half, these bigger speedway type of tracks can go. It might just be a way, I'm trying to think of the right words, but it might just be a race where you just need to avoid the wrecks, avoid the chaos, lay low a little bit, just to make sure you get a good finish. That might be all you need, but we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out.
You have to wait and see. A lot of drivers sitting. Actually, Brandon Trano, interestingly enough, sitting on pit lane. You can actually hear the car at the moment. He's trying to burn off some extra fuel. That's what these guys are fighting with. A couple drivers getting out there on the track. Gary Lovren in the 34. Christopher already heading out onto the racetrack here and heading up on a high line. You can see a lot of these guys running up against this high line to build this momentum here as they start their qualifying lap. Christopher will be one of the first ones to put a time down.
And Stouffer, one of the former winners here in this series, he actually went back-to-back seasons 3 and 4, but that was over about 5-6 years ago at this point. We'll see if he can reclaim that magic. He's going to run the outside for his first time lap. We'll see what the preferred line ends up being in the main pack, but I would believe you just want to be around the white line as long as you're not in dirty air. If you're in the pack, you'll probably have to be changing your lane every single corner, but you'll be on the bottom line for a hot lap, I would think, as Stouffer comes off the wall a little bit, and he'll go to that bottom line for a second lap.
So we're one of the first few to come across the line. Of course, taking more of a conservative approach on the first lap just to make sure he can build up the momentum. That IndyCar flying down the back straightaway now, heading into turns 3 and 4, mostly the same, just keeping it just off the white line. You don't want to touch it and upset the car. Keeps it down low, trying to get the shortest way around the track, 25.049, one of the first times to beat as more times jump up onto the board. Gary Lovren in the 34, he comes around, he finishes his qualifying attempt. Christopher there. Joe Branch actually in the 28, he jumps up to first, not before Tim Holgate heads up ahead of him.
Holgate, another former winner here. He's actually one of the most winningest drivers at these speedway type of tracks. So we'll see if Holgate can get another victory at this track. He'd be going for his second, I believe. He won back. That was season 1. That was almost 8 years ago.
That was with a completely different car as well.
Completely different chassis, yeah. But very fast regardless of the chassis. Mike Kitchell's trying to get to the front of the field. He's 5th with his first lap. We're averaging about 210, 215 miles an hour. That's without draft. He is going to go 25.126. So he will go up. Really, he won't change his position on track. He'll stay 5th. But here comes Trano to
very slow approach to the line. And this is actually not funny enough. This approach is not the first time I've seen this work. So there is a method to the madness here. I guess he's trying to burn off more and more of that fuel sitting in the tank. The slow approach to the line, gasses it up, and then he's going to ride the outside. Figures he has enough momentum build up on this one lap alone to make it around.
Yeah, I was looking at his warm-up lap, and he was basically down the back straightaway, just mashing the throttle with the clutch in, so definitely burning fuel there to get ready for a faster and more aggressive second lap as a blistering 27.619 goes on the board. He's trying to beat a 25.009 by Holgate. He's probably going to need a 24-second bracket-style lap to get this pole position. We'll see if the fuel burning makes that big of a difference.
I mean, I definitely think if anyone knows what they're doing, it's this man right here, defending series champion. Trying to see where he will start off this race. Across the line for him, 24.8. One of a couple drivers to break that barrier along with AJ Musselman. And actually, just where Orman just comes across the line, he'll end up in second place. But Trano, while flying lap up on top of the board. Andrew Wood just comes across the line in 64. He will place in 4th. Trying to look at some other drivers coming to the line. Mark Murphy in the 69 machine, working his way through 3 and 4. He's completing his first of 2 laps.
Going to run the high side there, then he's going to go to the bottom. And then the 97, Van de Sant is going to come and start his second lap as well, 26.960, running that higher line. He's going to arc it in. We saw some drivers taking a shallow entry to turns 1 and 3. He's actually going to arc it in like you would normally do, even if you weren't in an Indy car, but he's going to keep it a little lower on exit away from the wall just to get rid of any possible drag. Is Mark Murphy a little further up? He comes across the line, 24.929. He's going to go to the 5th position. Seb Alexander bumped him down to that 5th position. He went 4th. Aka Boise goes 7th. And Van de Sant, 24.909. Now he goes 5th on the board. It's Craig Forsyth a little further back with his lap, 15th position.
And an entertaining qualifying session as that's going to be ramping it up. 30 of the 31 drivers setting a time down. They are taking the fastest 33, so that means no drivers will be going home after that qualifying session, but super close up on top of the board. 0.004 of a second separating Trano and Oster on the timesheets. That's really awesome to see.
And that fuel burning definitely made a difference. I mean, that was about 0.2 of a second Brendan Trano put on the guy who was on provisional pole, Tim Holgate. Holgate went all the way down to 11th after everything was said and done, so definitely makes a difference, but you won't really have the opportunity to do that in this race unless you need to for a late race caution or something like that. But the series champion showing everyone how it's done, not really surprising.
No, definitely not surprising. Took 8 wins of the 16 rounds competed in last season number 10. So Trano definitely wanted to know how to get it done. He's got a little bit of a warm-up session before we get going. For this is supposed to be the final full-time season of competition for the Indy Elite Series. And we've been covering them. I can't remember the exact number of seasons, but quite a few of the last couple of seasons. And it's been awesome to see these guys all racing on here. Unfortunately, we missed quite a bit due to the situation regarding the how's the best way to word it?
motorsports games situation.
Yeah,
I guess.
that whole situation, licensing. That was the word I was looking for.
That's
The
the term,
licensing
yes.
situation amongst that. So unfortunately, missed quite a few events from these guys, and we're really looking forward to covering them back in 2023. But that got put on hold. But came back towards the end of 2024 and get a ride this entire season out. Love the Indy cars, especially with the updates iRacing's been pushing for these cars recently. They race fantastic, and we got a fantastic group of drivers. And again, we're going to see, can Brandon Trano match his dominance of last season? When we see some other drivers step up, Hamilton Akabueze was pretty quick, never could quite get there. Just for Orman also, I'm looking to see what he can do. I believe he competed in one of the previous seasons, but took a step back last season. I do remember his name. I don't recall seeing him at least in full-time competition last season. So a couple names definitely piquing the interest to see what they can do.
Yeah, I am interested to see if Trano can match that dominance once again. There's a stretch last season he won. He had 8 wins last season. 7 of those were in a row. He won October of last year at Phoenix, and then he won at Mid-Ohio for 7 in a row in December. 7 in a row is insane in any series, let alone in these Indy cars at different tracks. Really, really impressive what he did. But he did go the last 8 races with only the 1 victory, and that points lead kept coming down, but he was able to hold on because of that gap he built up. And I am very interested to see if he can dominate the mid portion of this season once again. A little bit shorter schedule, yes, but either way, he is a dominant driver when he's at the top of his game, and now he's on the pole for the first race of the season. So it's going to be really, really tough to match, let alone beat whatever Trano does.
Really great to see. And also want to know a couple of course, there's the now iRacing IndyCar Pro Series. And there are a couple drivers in here. There are a couple of drivers that we've seen on the past on SimTV competing in the series. Luis Nunez competing in that series. Jacob Oster, who is also here tonight. There he is in the number 16. Amongst one of the drivers. Scrolling through the list, I forgot exactly who. Of course, Brandon Trano. I'm not surprised to see him competing in that series. I honestly really should be following the IndyCar Pro Series. A couple other names, some people, longtime viewers of SimTV will be noted. Jason Brophy, Joshua Chin, Robert Mleczka, Adam Crane, Philip Kraus. So Brandon Lichtenberg. So a lot of names we're familiar with. A lot of those drivers jumping, and of course, cream of the crop rises to the top, and not surprising to see a lot of them finding success in competing at the top level of IndyCar racing on iRacing. And I mean, a couple of these names were even competing in the top split of the Indy 500, I believe, last year as well, or this year, a couple of months ago.
Probably next year too.
And probably next year as well. And that's the thing too. You got to mention also is that this is an open setup series. And that's what makes the 4,000ths of a second in qualifying even that much more impressive. We'll cover it through the night, but if you look at the front wing, I'm going to be clicking through a couple drivers here in succession. You can see a couple different front wing configurations for the car. Also, there's a Ricker on the rear wing of the car, so everyone playing with different setups, and it's quite a few different solutions with what drivers are choosing to run. So, of course, everyone's setting up for different scenarios, whether you're in cleaner air, whether you're in traffic, especially as the track transitions from day to night. And we're going to see a transition soon as we go from the warm-up session coming to an end to getting ready on the grid for this race, 150 laps.
When we talk about all the wing configurations, what you do with the weight jacker in the car matters a lot. I mean, there's so many off-track adjustments that you can make to these cars, obviously, but there's a lot of work that's going to be done behind the wheel at 220 miles an hour for a lot of these drivers, messing with the weight jacker, trying to make it a little bit more oversteery, trying to get the rear kick out a little bit, or if you need it to be a little bit tighter, you'd go the other direction. The anti-roll bars you're going to have to mess with as well, not to mention the fuel mapping. If you're trying to save fuel for a long run, maybe try to cut a pit stop out. There's so much work in these Indy cars that goes on behind the wheel, and you're doing it at 220 miles an hour in a pack. And that's really, really difficult to do if you're not adjusted to it and know how to do it. So those drivers, most of these drivers are accustomed to that, but it's still going to be a challenge at high speeds to do that.
Absolutely will be here as we get to gridding. Let's go through your starting lineup on pole position. Brandon Trano just 4,000ths of a second over Jacob Oster in the number 16. We'll see how close it's going to be between these two before the night's over.
I imagine it's going to be pretty close. Jesper Orman's going to start in the 3rd position. Seb Alexander alongside will start 4th.
Moving on back to 5th, Alexander Van der Sant in the number 97s, lined up next to Mark Murphy. He's in the 69 car, lined up in 6th.
7th position goes to Andrew Wood, the number 64, a staple of this series. Hamilton Akaboise, who I think could battle for the title big time this season. He'll start back in 8th tonight.
Moving on back to 9th place is going to be AJ Musselman, the number 54 machine. Kevin Burrell in 10th. He lined up in the 52 car.
We roll off for our pace lap. Tim Holgate, a former winner here, will start in the 11th position. Luis Nunez will start 12th.
Moving on back one more spot, Chris Kao, he's lined up in 13th, the number 57. David Adams, he's in the 00, lined up in 14th.
Top half of the field ending right here. Craig Forsyth will start 15th. Joe Branch in the 28 will start 16th.
Christopher, he's lined up 17th in the number 13 car. Mike Kitchell, he's in the 04, lined up in 18th.
Rounding out the top 20, Andrew Marquez, the number 63, starts 19th, and the number 12, Alexander Ball, starts 20th.
Moving back to 21st is Tony Schown. He's in the 31 car. Next to him, Julian Altena in the 11. He's lined up 22nd.
Altena's always fun to watch. 23rd, Shane Coogan in the 29. Alongside him in 24th, Rashad Craig.
Moving on back, Gary Lovren in 25th. He's in the 34. Matt Taylor, he's in 26th in the number 8 machine.
27th position, Paolo Vinicius in 27th. Lorenzo Bonder will start 28th.
Back in 29th, Wayne Hunter's in the 82. Hugo Galaz in the 18. He's lined up in 30th.
The final starter, Carol Strout in the 43, 31st position. 31 cars to tackle this mile and a half.
All right, going through your starting lineup, a lot of cars getting ready to go. Another season of IES competitions about to be underway. We are green here for the Indy Elite Series here at Homestead. Flying past the start-finish line at over 200 miles an hour. We head off into turn 1. Brandon Trano, Jacob Oster exchanging positions already in a drag race to the front. Duking it out amongst one another. In behind of Alexander Van der Sant gets up to 3rd position after just starting in 5th position. Jesper Orman in behind him in 4th. Oster, though, at the front will take the point again.
You're already seeing that slingshot type of action happening. Oster and Trano going back and forth. Oster has gotten to the line first both laps to lead both of the first 2 laps. So Trano keeps coming back on the inside of turn 1, and Oster will turn the favor until the tires get too worn out to do so. Until then, they're going to keep swapping just like this as Van der Sant gets 3rd, Orman 4th, and Andrew Wood's gotten up to 5th after starting 7th.
Riding on board with Seb Alexander here as he's trying to fight it out with Andrew Wood. Got very close to him. In behind them, Mark Murphy, AJ Musselman duking out for position. Hamilton Akaboise also in behind in that pink and black car.
You're already seeing drivers all over the racetrack. You're seeing drivers trying to avoid that dirty air. Some drivers going to the wall in the middle of the corner, just keeping it up there, avoiding any dirty air possible. But then most of the guys in cleaner air, they're going to go to the bottom of the racetrack. That's going to be the fast line. You can see some drivers at the top already, like Mark Murphy, making it work a little bit.
Riding on board with Musselman, you can see all the drivers fanning out. No one's trying to be in the train rails of the driver in front. Want to offset that car, get that cleaner air to work with. So that way you can get the car to rotate the corner. Otherwise, you're going to be way down in speed. You can see right there up on top, Mark Murphy, you got stuck in behind. They're trying to work past Seb Alexander ahead of him. He had to back off a little bit to make sure he didn't make contact with the wall. 54 Musselman still working to that inside. Trying to see if he can get clear his battle for 6th position, and it looks like Musselman will do exactly that.
And that's got to be the scariest part. It's all a guessing game, trying to guess where the driver in front of you is going to go, and it's obviously vice versa. The driver in front of you is trying to put the air on your nose to keep you behind, but it's got to be the worst feeling when you guess the outside lane, but the driver in front of you takes the outside lane. You probably think you're going to go to the wall. That was almost a block by Holgate there as he goes to the top side after that near collision, but that's the toughest part, is guessing where they're going to go. 3 wide up ahead. Mark Murphy in the middle. Akaboise got to the bottom, but they weren't able to make it stick.
Yeah, that was more of a wreck about to happen, more so than a block there. He got very lucky that he didn't get hit by Burrell, and Kevin Burrell will actually move himself back into 10th position. Luis Nuez on the bottom in 12th, trying to follow on through. Whoa!
Oh, man.
Had to do a hip check here. Trying to avoid Holgate, trying to check out a line. Up in the front, nothing much has changed. It's been the Oster and Treno show, and both of these drivers have this planned out, and they've been doing this ever since the drop of the green because they want to keep it amongst themselves. They've eked out a pretty solid lead, almost a second away. Alexander Vandesen, you can see how far back he is by comparison.
It's hard to get spread out at the front and get away, but they're doing just that. About 9/10 of a second they have on third place, and it's another second back to Jesper Orman in fourth. So the front of the field has spread out pretty quickly already, and those two, Oster and Treno, are doing a great job. Maybe a little co-opetition possibly, but either way, they're working together, slingshotting away. They're running 25.63, 6.4s. Van de Sant in third is about half a tenth off of that per lap.
You can see how much the leaders are separating amongst one another now. Those tires are starting to wear out just a little bit more. It's getting a little bit harder to follow directly in behind. Still possible, and this is when we start to talk about, the adjustments on the wheel. Let's take a little bit closer look at the wheel. You can adjust front anti-roll bar, rear anti-roll bar, the weight jacker, and all those allow you to adjust the way the car handles on turn-in, middle of the corner, and on exit. And especially, it's all going to change depending on whether or not you're in traffic or in cleaner air. And then the big thing too, especially with the weight jacker, gotta watch out on how it changes how the tires wear out. You put too much in one direction, you can end up burning up that right rear tire. That's one thing you want to avoid. So it's all a game of management and adjusting the car, fine-tuning it throughout the run. As Mark Murphy looks to the bottom of Seb Alexander, trying to fight for 7th.
And, these guys battling for 7th. Alexander's kind of fallen back since the start of this race. Mark Murphy's going to get that position. Meanwhile, at the front, that co-opetition, that slingshot is over. Treno cleared Jacob Oster by a decent margin in the turn 1 a few laps ago, and Oster was not able to respond back. So Treno officially now the race leader, leading his first laps because he didn't even lead the first lap. It's letting Van de Sant stay a little bit closer to Oster and Treno, but 9 of Treno definitely in control now.
It was like Treno's decided to keep himself up at the lead. Oster having to settle back for 2nd place, and then it's Alexander Van de Sant right in behind. He's actually closing in, it seems, in the 97 machine, so I think he's ready to play and fight with the leaders, the closest he's been since the drop of the green flag earlier on.
Yeah, definitely gaining on Oster. He just doesn't seem to have the pace, and obviously he can't follow Treno. He's going to go as low as he can without being in his wake, but you could tell that car is just not handling well. A little bit too much understeer, not able to carry that speed through the corner, and it's costing him time to 3rd place. Sooner or later, he's probably going to have to start responding to what Van de Sant is doing and maybe taking his line away to keep that 2nd position.
Taking a look further down the order, still some battles going on in the midfield. Craig Forsyth trying to finish for Chris Kao.
Crash somewhere. Caution is out. It is Wayne Hunter and Mike Kitchell, both big damage.
Yeah, this is entering turn 1.
They were back.
What happened to these two drivers?
This is at the very back. This is for 30th. Actually, excuse me, 29th. Kitchell on the top.
Oh, some netcode involved in there as well, but he did get a little bit close.
Yeah, definite netcode. And Kitchell not happy on the radio. I guess he didn't think they should have been that close. Definitely a tough pill to swallow when 2nd to last, 3rd to last get involved in an incident. You can see from Kitchell's point of view, Hunter does kind of come up a little bit, but definitely met in the middle. So unfortunate for both those drivers, probably both out of the race, as this will bring pretty much everyone to pit lane.
Oh, I imagine it definitely is going to bring most drivers to pit lane. We'll see, and there they all come on down. As it is so important to get some tires when you can. The way that affects the drivability of this car in traffic, if you try to stay out, it might help you. It's only a couple laps left in the race, but stuck back in traffic, you're going to immediately fall to the back. So everyone coming in, and of course the key part also is to just make sure you stop in your box correctly and don't overshoot, which is so easy to do.
Yeah, just inch into your box. It's not going to be the worst thing in the world if you lose maybe 1 spot, but don't compound mistakes and make it maybe 3, 4, 5 spots. Treno out first, Oster, Van de Sant, Orman, and Wood. Pretty much everyone's going to come out where they entered.
Quick little break after the first After the initial start here, 15 laps of green flag running. It's pretty intense action. And I'm sure Trino and Oster are a little annoyed because all their hard work gone all for naught as the fuel gets reset.
And we'll see if this track changes to the point where you see some drivers maybe a little further back start to get through this field. I don't think the track's going to cool off a lot more. It's already pretty cool, but the lights are going to come on. The sun's going to set. This track is going to go through at least a little bit of change to the point where we might see some drivers set up for the dark night. And, you know, whenever the sun fully goes down, some drivers might be set up for that. Their cars might come to life. Maybe some guys at the front, like Oster or Van de Sant, they might start falling back. I believe those two, I doubt they would start falling back personally, but you never know. The track will change a lot.
1-2 green here. Before we go back to green, want to give mention to one of the biggest movers of the race so far, +6, Julian Altena in the number 11 machine. Taking a look at him. He's trying to climb his way back forward. Not the best starting spot, back in 22nd. Trying to see if he can break inside the top 10, just shy of the top 15. Altena's point of view, all of the cars he has to get through to try to get to the front. Quite a bit ways to go, but still early on in the night. Only on lap 18 of 150.
Starting back at 22nd, I mean, you really can't pick a clean line to run. Everyone's going to be running different lines, so you're not going to have any air to work with. You're not going to have any pocket that you can get a better run through the corner than a driver in front of you. You just got to hope they make a mistake, or maybe they're just a little bit slower through the corner and pounce. And he's been able to do that so far up those 6 positions. So I would say if we get enough of a long run, he could get into the top 10 eventually.
Just taking a look at Carroll Stout, there was one of the biggest mover of the race so far, +10, as the pace car turns aggressively on a pit lane. The lights are on. We'll see what it has in store for us here as the green flag back in the air. Traino leading them on down. Oster, Van de Sant, Orman, and Wood, your top 5. And immediately you already see a driver out of line. I believe it's Holgate trying to make a move already on Forsyth.
Wasn't quite able to do so. It's kind of slipped back 2 positions since the start of this race. Altena and David Adams will be side by side. That's the first side by side battle, while Oster and Traino will start working together once again.
And up ahead here as the leaders get more up to speed. There goes Traino for a move to the inside. And you can see Oster not putting on much of a fight, going to continue what they started earlier on in the race. Wood and Musselman, though, battle starting to heat up as Musselman was trying to make a dive to the inside. Couldn't beat the run off the corner, so Wood will hold the spot for now.
It's just so hard to get that pass completed on the bottom line. If they don't give you the position and you go into 3 with someone in front of you, you're going to wash up the track, and you got to be very careful not to cause an incident. So side-by-side action, you got a lot of room for it, but if you don't want to give that much room and start pinching drivers down, that's when you could get in trouble, as here comes with more side-by-side. Murphy and Akabueze for that 7th position.
Hamilton, Akabueze on the inside line. Murphy up on top. They're going to try to get that run off the corner and a little bit of slipstream just to complete the move and defend his position. He will do exactly that. As you see, a little bit more of a composed start of this race with a single file start. Everyone trying to get up to speed. Craig Forsyth now trying to work on getting past Nunez, just up ahead of him in the number 14 machine, but still stuck in traffic as Oster and Traino continue to swap spots. Van de Sant, though, keeping touch with him this time around.
He's not falling off this time, so a much better start to the run at this point. He's about 0.4 of a second closer than what he was near the end of that first run of the race. So just trying to keep tabs on these drivers best he can. It's tough because you'll have Traino and Oster swapping from the yellow line and the wall, so he's kind of got to either run the bottom or try running the middle and just trying to keep the clean air on the nose best he can. Talk about clean air, but it does matter that much. That's why we talk about it that much. So he's just got to try to stay close and pounce in case maybe a random mistake, and just see if he can fight with those two and see if he has the car to do so. Right now he looks all right. He's definitely better than 4th on back just for Orman. But once again, just not able to keep pace with those top 3, as Musselman has been working over Andrew Wood since the restart. Just can't complete this pass. Hit the apron there too.
Yeah, you definitely want to try to stay away from that apron. Can really upset the car if you hit it in the wrong way. Trying to find some way to work around. Wood clearly not giving him the top lane, the lane that he wants, and having to make him work the hard way around the bottom side of the racetrack, which is just not really conductive to making the move, just due to the lack of a run. And in behind them, Murphy getting very close to the left rear of Hamilton Akabueze. He's trying to get a spot on him.
Akabueze just got that spot in 1 and 2. Murphy tried to respond, couldn't do it. So Akabueze up 1 position, his first position gain since the start of this race, as those top 3 continue to inch away from the rest of the field. Craig Forsyth and Luis Nunez are going to be side by side for 11th, as Nunez is starting to slip back a little bit, and Julian Alton is close to that battle as well. He's gained 3 more positions since the restart.
So clearly a poor qualifying effort for Alton. That car does have some speed. It's a matter of getting the position and getting it back up there to make a move. So he's settling in just inside the top 15. And as the battles continue, especially up near the top there, you see Oster and Treno swap once more. And now a second and a half between 3rd and 4th place. That's how big the gap has grown. And that's going to probably allow Orman to potentially, not to his liking, get sucked into this battle with Wood and Musselman as they start to catch him.
We're both they were kind of even with Orman that time. So we'll see if they're able to catch up to the 4. Orman's kind of in a world of his own, has not been able to battle with the top 3, but Andrew Wood, Musselman, Akabueze, they haven't really caught him. So just needs to find a little bit of speed somewhere in that car to be able to compete for the win. Decent pace, just not enough right now. It's a big run for Musselman in the 1, but just not able to complete that pass.
He's not giving up. Can't blame him for trying, but more and more he tries, the closer Hamilton Akabueze seems like he might get, and he might pose a threat, make this a 3-way battle for 5th place amongst them. 7 car, another one that has some potential speed in it.
Those 2 stay side by side, but it kind of takes up any line that the 7 can take, as the 7 runs in the 7th position. Nunez and Forsyth are still battling. They almost made contact out of turn number 2 as Akabueze continues to just watch this battle, having some fun watching the action just like we are, basically.
Yeah, you can see he was trying to run in behind, and then as soon as he started slipping up, caught some clean air in the middle of the racetrack as Wood went high. And actually, Musselman might be able to get on through, maybe try to force it on through on the exit. Will he slide up in front? Can't slide up in front of Wood. But he's probably going to be looking in his mirror and realize he needs to get this move done sooner or later. Otherwise, he might lose 2 spots.
If anything, those are types of moves that you would make in NASCAR. I think in NASCAR with bumpers, you make that move, slide up in front of them. If they bump you, no problem. He almost did it anyways there. Musselman did almost made contact. But in IndyCar, you can't afford to do that. You have front wings and rear wings to protect. You can't afford to damage either of them. We'll do it anyways. Forget what I'm saying.
I mean, you can slide a little bit, not a lot. You really don't want to be sliding too much in an Indy car, but he tries to slam the door shut. He at least has got the top line. That's the lane he's been wanting this entire run with Wood, and finally gets it. So he's up to 5th place. Now has some clean air to work with. Wood's got some turbulent air to work with. He's all the way up on the top line, but can't keep it going. Either that or he gave the position to Akabueze willingly. I think figured it wasn't worth the fight.
I don't think it was worth almost getting your front wing taken off. I don't think he wants to deal with that again, so he'll just give the spot up. I think Akabueze, his car's starting to kind of settle in. He's starting to gain a little bit of speed and just having a lot more grip. So that 7 should get to the top 5 soon, I would think, because Julian Alton is still 13th. He's looking to be inside of Craig Forsyth, and even further back than that, you have Carroll Stout, still the biggest mover of this race, up now 11 position, just past Tony Schoen in the 31.
Yeah, so I got another scrap for position just up the road as well. Forsyth and Alton are going at it. Actually, Forsyth was just able to get the spot back, but Alton trying to get back at him. Getting the slips from him behind, just peeking the nose out to the left, a dime to the inside of turn 1. And we saw how much Musselman struggled to get that run, and there you see Forsyth with the run off the corner will take away the spot.
And keep that spot. Musselman's now trying to defend from Akabueze. He's on the bottom, really tight out of turn number 2. But turn number 4, excuse me, they're going to make it work, and Musselman's just going to let him by. So another driver just giving way, not wanting to have that battle on their hands. So there it is. Akabueze into the top 5. Mark Murphy just passed Andrew Wood for the 7th position at the same time.
Yeah, Wood looking like he's starting to fall back. I wonder if he's burnt up a little bit too much of his stuff trying to defend from Musselman. Now he's trying to pay the price a little bit. Either that or some of the guys in the back, they're starting to pick up the pace. and start to make their charge to the front. Might be a little bit of a mixture of both. Mark Murphy up to 7th place, Akabueze up to 5th, and with the speed this 7 car is showing, he might not be too long before he catches up to Jesper Orman, who's been lonely running in 4th place, though I think he's the furthest away from anyone, it seems.
Yeah, he's been pretty much on his own the entire race. Van de Sant's kind of back in that spot. He was not able to stay with Trano and Oster much longer, so he's backed about a second from them once again. Oh, that was contact. That was not there. No room for that one, that's for sure. Carol Stout getting aggressive. I don't think the front wing got damaged, but got pretty darn close to the 31 of Schoen, who I thought he made the pass on him, but Schoen got back by. Now he's got a big gap to work with.
Talking about that metaphor to stock car racing. These guys are racing like it's a stock car race. They're slamming the door shut. They don't care that they have wings. They're racing like they have bumpers. As Schoen slammed the door shut the best way he could. Stout had to back off of it. Who is still the biggest mover of the race. Andrew Marquez in behind in the number 63 machine, trying to see if he can make a charge on through. But it's been fairly quiet back here. Christopher back here in 18th. I also want to take a look at Christopher, if nothing else, just looking at this beautiful livery on this car, the all metallic chrome look.
Looks really nice.
Looks absolutely beautiful in the night. Ooh, and some sparks flying from that car as well.
Pretty close to the wall. That's another thing you kind of do in NASCAR, get close to the wall. I don't recommend doing that in IndyCar. That wall grabs you, you're going to do a lot of damage to the suspension, but with how bad it is if you're behind someone, you have to go up there just trying to avoid incident. Altona had a slide out of 4. Tim Holgate almost ran into the back of the 11. That was tight.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought I saw a little bit of a slide as well, but I wasn't sure if it was just me, but right on board with Julian Altona as they head through 3 and 4.
Yeah, that's why the 11 has so much speed.
Yeah, there you see right there.
Trimmed. Wow.
That is a lot harder than it looks. Let me tell you.
Yeah, let's compare it to a different auto racing genre again. You want it to kick out in a stock car. You do that in IndyCar, you're dying. You do not want that, and that's a hard car to drive when it does that. If you don't catch it, you are done, and your race is over. So having it, that's a pretty aggressive setup, but that's why he's up 9 positions at this point.
I think also might be maybe on the adjustments on the car, maybe too much weight jacker pushing that right rear. Tire might be overheating, losing a little bit of grip there. And I think, like you mentioned, that's how Altona is gaining up quite a few spots. So you got to make those adjustments because these tires have to last you the whole run. And Alta, he drops back to 14th, but Holgate looking pretty quick at the moment, up to 12th. Up ahead, Andrew Wood in a dogfight, just lost a spot to Burrell. Now trying to fight Nunez, who's on the bottom side of the racetrack, off of turn 4.
Andrew Wood's car is really falling off, starting to fall pretty hard. He ran a 26.3 last time by Burrell, was 0.3 faster than that, and even Nunez was faster. And Nunez, you can tell just
corner.
Yeah, Nunez got a great run off the corner. I think Andrew Wood just doesn't have any grip. The front wing, he just does not have the downforce he needs right now. So he's definitely, I think, has to change something on the next pit stop because it is not working back outside the top 10.
Yeah, we're definitely going to probably be one of the first takers to pit lane, I would think, to try to stop the backward slide. Up ahead, you're not missing much. There's a reason we haven't really talked about Trano and Oster because it's been continuously swapping back and forth. I think it might have stopped, at least with the swapping. Oh, as Oster, I think, almost just got a piece of the wall. But they're within a couple tenths of each other and held station. Alexander Van de Sant still trailing on, 8 tenths back, but a separation just for Orman, then Hamilton Akabueze in 5th. And some more separation among some of the leaders. More battles going on further behind there. Here comes David Adams in the 0-0. Big charge off of turn 2.
And that was Altona trying to get clean air on the nose maybe. He went to the middle line, but that's where Tim Holgate ran. And it just completely made him wash up, and that's what gave David Adams that run. So he charged back through the field, but Altona's starting to kind of fall back, and I think he's starting to feel the effects of how aggressive his setup was and also how aggressive he pushed the tires. He's going to try to get more clean air on the nose, and just like that, you can see how aggressive it shoots up the track once they get a whiff of the wake of that car in front. But they've actually both caught Andrew Wood, as Wood is really dropping. He was in the 27-second bracket last time. Yeah,
Wood's even struggling in the clean air, which is definitely not a good sign because there was a little bit of separation between Holgate and this group currently. Actually, sorry, not Holgate. Nunez and Holgate. There was a bit of a gap. about 2.2 seconds. So there's some clean air Wood had to work with, but this wasn't enough. That car is continuously sliding back now through the run.
Yeah, this is really just poor at this point to fall this far off. He was battling with Musselman and Mark Murphy. He's about 5-6 seconds behind those guys at this point.
To the wing of that car. I was wondering why they were coming down pit lane, and that is why you could see the right side of that wing missing. Now the question is, what caused him to miss that part of the wing? You have it here. No, I was missing it there. Oh, right there. Contact with the 42.
Vinicius got the wall entering, and he was entering behind a little late, just trying to get the arc into the corner, I assume on the bottom, and just bad timing, and then hits the wall pretty hard, bends the suspension. That might not be able to recover from that.
Yeah, see how bad. Hopefully, I think they might have gotten away with suspension damage. Indeed, they will. They're back out onto the racetrack. Once more
Andrew
the pit stop.
He's got the front wing back on. Andrew Wood almost hit the wall. Now David Adams gets by. He's back to 13th position.
Yeah, this is just really got to be annoying as a driver. You're up there so high in position, up around 6th, 7th place. You know, nothing really to stop the bleeding at the moment. I think he's probably praying and hoping for a caution. And there goes Julian Alton about to make a move for 13th.
Still has some speed, just struggling with the handling, but definitely not struggling as much as the 64, just trying to find a way by the 64. Wood doesn't seem like he can even get to the bottom of the racetrack, just giving everyone the bottom while he runs the top and just hoping it works out. That time it does. It gives him run off the corner. Just in survival mode, trying to get to his pit stop window at this point.
Joe Branch as well in behind the number 28 machine. Of course, Joe Branch, the owner of the series. Going to work his way through the traffic in the middle of the field in 15th behind Altona and Andrew Wood.
Got a battle for second brewing as well. Brandon Trano's checked out. It's a 2.2 second lead just like that. Now it seems like Jacob Oster is the one starting to struggle. Van de Sant's caught him.
Yeah, Van de Sant waiting for his moment to strike, and here he goes. Move to the bottom side of the racetrack, but not quite enough to make a move. Have to charge back up and go once more. To head up into turn 3. You can see most of the track now in light. At sunset, a little bit of a remainder of light, but mostly set in darkness here. As Oster pretty much sees Trano running off into the darkness out ahead. It's kind of amazing. It's like a flip of a switch. We last looked at them, they were 2/10 behind one another. And now 2.5+ seconds is the gap between these two. Up, and there goes Oster down to pit lane, one of the first to pit this run.
Trano came in as well, so we followed the 9 in, so not sure how much further these drivers can go on fuel, but Trano and Oster at the front of the field burning the most fuel could only make it to lap 55 with a pit stop. They only made it maybe 37-ish laps.
Yeah, accounting for some of the caution pacing as well, so around 36, 37 laps under green flag conditions. So Alexander Van de Sant now the leader of the race, and they continue once more. Again, a reminder, these drivers have to come off of turn 3. Is the pit road entrance. We're using the IndyCar version of Homestead, which is where you need to obey that. You can't pit off at turn 4. And another thing to also watch out for is penalties for entering the box too early. You got to enter in 3 stalls ahead and 3 stalls, exit 3 stalls after. Can't come in before and just drive through all the pit stalls like a couple of drivers do in iRacing. You know who you are.
If you're on officials, it's almost everyone at this point. A lot more people coming to pit lane now. David Adams just exited pit lane. A few others. Musselman came down. Forsyth came down. Tim Holgate comes down from 7th. Andrew Wood is finally in from, now he was in the 10th position. Christopher as well.
Yeah, and I guess some drivers they're trying to see if they can hit their numbers. So we're seeing around 40 laps is what some of these drivers are doing.
Makes it pretty close. Probably 1 stop extra from here. So for the drivers who've already pit, we try to only make 1 more pit stop out of it.
I think it's going to have to be 40 laps. Because the thing is, they're going to have to go 40 laps here. It's going to take them to around lap 100. You got 50 laps to go unless you really hypermile it. I think 10 laps of fuel saving is a bit of a stretch in this car. I don't think it's possible. It depends on how much longer some of these other drivers run. I think we're seeing Alexander Van de Sant, they're trying to hypermile it Hamilton Akabueze seems to be in a similar boat. And I just wish we can actually see the fuel map that these guys are on so we can tell if they're fuel saving or not. But of course that data is hidden from us, so we'll just have to guess what fuel map that they're on. And
Oh, that is that was aggressive pit entry.
That is an aggressive pit entrance. Actually, was that to the cone or was that after the cone?
I don't know if there's not a cone there, but there is a yellow line that he cut across. I don't know if that's in play or not.
And Akabueze came in flying to pit lane under the brakes by the actual yellow cones.
He's got a black flag.
Yeah, see, I figured he got something. Either I wasn't sure if it was for the pit entry or for the speeding. I want to say for speeding. He came in there a bit hot. Let's take a look at that.
I think it was for speeding. I don't think the yellow line was in play, but definitely didn't hit pit speed. I think it was too squirrely on under braking.
Way too fast. Almost wrecked into the wall trying to brake.
Pretty darn close.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because he had a really, really good run. This is going to kill all of his momentum. I think he's just going to hope to even be on the lead lap because it is a pretty brutal penalty for speeding. But it's better to speed on entry than on exit, I would think. At least you get to just make that one trip down pit lane versus two. So Akabueze is going to lose his spot. Alexander Van de Sant on pit lane and off of it. Heading around 44 laps. That's doable.
If he can do it again, if he can do that two more times, it's definitely doable. If people can't stretch it, that would make things interesting for Treno and the others that pretty much pit and we're not saving any fuel and we're just going flat out, like Treno, who's retaking the lead, or Jacob Oster as well, because there's no chance they could make that number. And they'd have to take a splash of fuel, probably maybe 5 to 10 laps worth. But if those drivers are within 1 to 2 laps, they could switch to fuel map and the engine mapping, maybe try to save that amount. Could make things interesting for sure.
Definitely can make things interesting. Taking a look at the kind of running order now that we had pit stops to see where everyone's running at. Brandon Treno up ahead, of course. Now 3.6 seconds ahead of Jacob Oster. Then it's Alexander Van de Sant behind a couple more seconds in third. Jesper Orman, AJ Musselman in fifth. Then Seb Alexander, Mark Murphy, Kevin Burrell, Luis Nunes, and Tim Holgate, your top 10.
And I was looking at Oster. He's in second. He actually hit the wall a little bit.
Ooh,
no damage done.
And for Hamilton Akabueze, he is 2 laps down. I believe that is Treno up ahead, so he could get at least one of those laps back.
See if Treno wants to give that to him, though.
Probably
he has
not.
no reason to. Akabueze seems content to just follow in his tire tracks. Didn't really try to make an effort to run a different line there.
I mean, at this point, just damage control, I would think, for the 7. Just trying to make the best out of this night.
There's not much, definitely out of your control at this point. 29th position, the last driver running position on track. The only drivers out of the race are Mike Kitchell and Wayne Hunter, who brought out our one and only caution. You got Ball, Bonder, Laverne, Coogan, Gilaz, and Schoen and Matt Taylor all a lap down as well. So there's really not anyone he can really catch for position. It's a ways up to Alexander Ball.
Some battles brewing on the track. Not as heated as it was in the first part of the run, but still heated nonetheless. David Adams, Julian Alton are about to engage in a battle. Joe Branch and Chris Cahill also getting awfully close to each other. One of the closer battles actually just to pass down Gary Laverne and Shane Coogan, battling it back in 25th position.
And that's right behind, or not right behind, but pretty far behind our race leader, as Coogan's going to get that spot away from Laverne for 25th, but probably going to come right back to the inside. Nope, thought better of it. It's just going to back off.
Back off for now. Have another look to the inside. Coogan taking the top lane to defend. And it looks like that'll be enough for it at the moment as both will continue their battle.
Caution.
Ooh, caution out. Oh, Van de Sant. Oh, no.
Someone else was flipping down the front stretch. Who is that?
Oh, and that is so unfortunate. I was really hoping to see how that strategy played out.
And that was Alexander Ball. Ball hits the wall, and there's nowhere for Van de Sant to go.
Oh, and a hard wreck for both of these cars.
That's Van de Sant. He had the fuel number as well, maybe going his way. Ball was running 28th a lap down. He's not going to be happy about that.
They're really not. A lot of the front runners struggling at the moment. Van de Sande with this wreck, Hamilton Nakaboise, and Elsa's now stuck 2 laps down under the caution. You see a huge amount of understeer. So he had understeer actually from the car up ahead, and then
Ball definitely gets the worst ride, but Van de Sande's also going to be out of this race.
Can't click off of it. Can't change the camera. There we go. Had to wait for him to reset for that, but he's another external view of what happened there.
Yeah, the car ahead actually hit the wall as well. And
That was the number
Van de Sande
12, I think? No.
The
was
ball
that?
was 12. I don't think it was.
Who was that? I'm curious.
Did not see. It was a yellow car.
There's a car we covered. Oh, Lorenzo Bonder. There we go. I knew we talked about this driver earlier, so he was the car that ended up kissing the wall up ahead. And that led to the situation we're in. So caution out once more. And everyone back on pit lane because they know they need every little bit of gas they can get. So let's do some math here. They're going to have, what, 80 laps to go? So, yeah, this is the perfect time to pit.
Just about, yeah. These drivers should be able to make that fuel number work for sure. Should, I would think, be one stop from here. And this will make things interesting. Seeing Jacob Oster with a black flag, I'm not sure what that would be for, but either way, he came out in second. Or actually, no, he came out in third, just where Orman jumped him.
Wonder, did he... I hear them talking in the game chat. I'm not sure that is Oster trying to argue it.
They might review it. I'm not sure what that would be for.
It's also one of these times where I would love to know what the penalty was for, if anything. Gonna see maybe did he pass under yellow. Take a look and see here.
I wonder if it's passing under yellow, because if a driver in front of you stays out on track and you're on the access lane, you can lose track of that driver to your outside. My only guess is maybe he passed that car. I think that's Gary Laverne.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard to see here. I'm trying to see if I can get a good angle of it.
Like an overhead, maybe. I'm not sure.
But
you can't see him from there.
There we go. Actually, that would have been the smarter thing to do. There we go. Let's take a look here.
Nose ahead, then not ahead.
He braked there. It only really matters at the yellow lines. It's not that, and I doubt he sped on pit lane. It looks like he's still holding his position. Did he get a black flag under green?
I don't think so. I think he got it under that caution. They've cleared them for now, but they could be reviewing it. My only guess is that it was passing under yellow on that access road, but that's really tough because he barely even had a nose ahead.
Yeah, I've gotten bid out for passing and coming to on a caution, passing into the pits. It ended up costing me a win.
Oh man!
I had to come back and pit under green because it was an iRacing official race. So obviously there's no admins to clear your penalty. So I had to come back under green. I somehow stayed on the lead lap, but I bounced back a little bit. But yeah, but I've definitely been caught out by that. That's how I learned that was a rule. Learned it the hard way. And it looks like he's holding station for now. We'll see. A lot of drivers getting the wave around. I believe led by Matt Taylor in the 8. No, actually, technically Hamilton Nakaboise leading them. So he'll get one of his laps back. Matt Taylor, Tony Schowen, Hugo Galaz, Jane Coogan, Gary Lovern, and Lorenzo Bonder will all get one lap. Sorry, never mind, not Lorenzo Bonder, but everyone else will get one lap back.
Yeah, and Chris Cahill, he stayed out.
Oh, okay, I was going to say. He stayed out. I'm actually a bit surprised by this. It's a little risky, but I'm guessing he's feeling confident he can make it on one more stop. Should it go green, which it definitely can. We went quite a ways that last run. I want to say 50 laps about on a green flag run. I don't see why we can't go green from here to the end. So the question is going to be, will those 12 laps have a difference? And because I think they will, especially with drivers like Trano and Orman in behind. But we shall see.
Yeah, it's definitely a track position play. I don't think you can make it on one stop from where he pit from. He pit on lap 58 and then stayed out to take the lead. So we'll see if he can just keep track position. This is definitely what the play here is for.
Here we go. Pace car in. Field led down by Chris Cahill to mix up the order near the front. Green flag back in the air here at Homestead, Miami. we go. Immediately, Trano will run to the inside. KO, I don't think he's really going to be able to fight that much in that car. We'll really see once he gets in the dirty air. This is going to be the real test of that car's handling on older tires.
See if he gets enough of a slipstream to battle back into turn one. Not going to be able to do so. Not like Oster's been able to do. The car just not there. Don't have the tires. So this now provides a pretty big opportunity for Trano to extend that once again.
And Oster actually losing out positions. Got passed by Orman and Musselman. This is really interesting. I'm not sure what happened. Something must have happened to Jacob Oster's car that's causing him to be. He's really, really struggling with understeer right now. Seb Alexander trying to build up a run behind him.
Well, I know for sure he got passed by Orman on pit road. Orman actually did not take tires under yellow to jump the 16. But yeah, like you're saying, Oster just doesn't have the same car right now. Musselman's gotten by. Here comes Seb Alexander. He is struggling.
Trying to look and see as this car comes by on the right, so did he pick up any damage or something? Or if he's just not adapted to the conditions, or he didn't really take a look at the conditions at the start of this race to compare, but I want to say it was, as he hits the wall there,
man.
That's definitely not going to help his case. But the track's cooled down to 26.7 degrees Celsius. Air temp not much cooler than that.
It's not the first time he's hit the wall either. It's at least the second time I've seen him hit it, and he's just struggling. I'd say, in another way, I'd say maybe he's trying to conserve fuel and go slower, but it's not just like speed down a straightaway that he's lacking. He just doesn't have any speed in the corners. He's really struggling to even get it turned into the corner.
Yeah, he's running up on top and trying to get it. It looks like as everyone else is also trying to run a little bit more towards the top lane. He's really struggling. Just that grip in the middle of the corner is just not quite there, or at least anywhere near the level that it was earlier on in the race, as they somewhat sort themselves out amongst the top few spots. I see that here comes Mark Murphy looking the inside, trying to get maybe 2 for 1. At least we'll try to look to the inside of Seb Alexander.
Alexander had the wake of that 16 in front of him, but he had just enough overlap to stay to be outside. He'll probably try maybe cut to the inside. Nope, Oster took that line away, so he's just going to stay a lane higher, then cut it down on the corner exit best he can, as those two almost came together. Also, two guys at the back, Andrew Wood, Christopher, also almost came together. As there's, the way these restarts go, you get instant battling for a little while before things get spread out again.
Great stuff across the board, though. Hard fights for position. Here's another battle. Nunes versus Adams. Adams up on top, Nunes on the bottom. And Alton trying to maybe look up the middle. He's starting to gain a run and poke his head into this battle as well. Battle for 9th position.
These guys are going to stay bumper to bumper, or front wing to rear wing, I should say. Seb Alexander, Mark Murphy, they're still battling. Murphy tried to get that spot, just can't make it work on the bottom. Julian Alton slides up in front of Luis Nunez. That's for the 10th position. Nunez is going to come back to the inside trying to make it work, but it's going to wash up the track and lose out on that battle.
Alton literally sliding up into position. That car is still looking slippery, but it's looking quick. Gets a great run on the front straightaway, dives to the inside of Adams. And I'm not sure he's going to try to be able to slide up. He's going to try to slide up. He will get ahead of the 00 and secure a 9th spot. How about that?
That was cut. He got a break cut for him. David Adams could have stayed in it and maybe crashed them both, but he knew that wasn't going to work, and it wouldn't have been smart. He lifted out of 2 to give Alton the spot.
So how close it was. Playing with inches at 200 plus miles an hour. And another battle for position here. Seb Alexander again trying to look at Oster to make a move, but couldn't quite get the move done. Still in behind. And Oster a second behind AJ Musselman in 4th place.
And Musselman's had a pretty good restart up into the 4th position now, as Oster's still trying to hold on to that 5th spot, and Musselman's pulled away. Oster's kind of holding up Seb Alexander a little bit here, because he should be in pretty clean air, and he just doesn't have the speed that the 49 does, so just really struggling on this run for whatever reason, as those top 4 start to pull away. Chris Cahoe's still in the 2nd position.
Yeah.
If he can make this on one more stop, I'd say it's a very good strategy, but I still worry that that's not possible.
I was going to say, color me surprised. I thought this was going to be a little bit more of a concern for the number 57 car. I thought he was going to drop at least a couple of spots, but I didn't think he'd be able to hold on a second. But looks like he's got it picked right. Like you said, the big thing is, does he have enough fuel? That's going to be the main thing, I think, for these drivers from here on to the end.
Yeah, And he might just have to try to save a little bit, but that just shows how important getting track position is. You don't think about it as I need tires type of race. The tires wear, but not to the point where it's going to matter. Like, new tires are not going to get you through the field that quickly like it would in stock car racing. You need the value track position over everything else.
Here's David Adams trying to get a little creative here, trying to build up a run on the back of Altona, get that 9th place spot back. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get by on this occasion. Still trying to look for a way forward. We're talking about a KO working well here. I think Orman heard that, and he's like, nope, I want 2nd place now. So here he goes in behind him. He's going to try to get the slipstream to work with him and make that move.
Well, I don't know if anyone has anything for Treno, as Keho switched his lineup. He sent it into turn number 3.
Whoa.
Maybe too much. Oh, yeah, that was too much. There goes Orman. He's going to get that runner-up spot. But I was going to say, Orman's got to go. I don't know if anything has anything for Treno, but if he wants to have a shot, he's got to get by him. And Keho kind of made the move for him.
Brandon Treno led 53 of 88 laps this race so far. Easily on tap to lead the most laps this race if he can keep this going. Jesper Orman trying to see if he can try to trail him down and get to him. A lot of potential drivers that could have won this race. Hamilton Akabueze and Alexander Van de Sant have run into issues, so he's going to be carrying the torch for the rest of the field, trying to see if he can upset the balance and get past Treno. Meanwhile, looking back, Altona and Adams still going at it. Neither one of them can decide who they want to be in 9th.
And I think Altona, he's definitely had a little bit of a shorter run feel to his setup, and it kind of just loses that grip to be fast as the run goes longer and longer. And you're starting to see David Adams get more aggressive with him, knowing that he probably has a better long-run car right now, trying to get that spot back, as they're almost 3 wide for that 9th position. Altona washed up. Luis Nunez almost got both of them. Carol Strout's watching that battle for the 13th position with Chris Stouffer and Andrew Wood. He's going to try to get 2 for 1 as well.
I was going to say, two great battles involving 3 cars almost going 3 wide. It's gloves out here as drivers are starting to see the laps count further down in the second half of this race. And everyone's trying to make up every spot they can. Here comes Nunez trying to slam the door shut. He will do so, and Altona, who will come back on the bottom side of the racetrack and have a look into turn 3. He will make the dive once more.
Chris Keho and Angel Musselman are going to battle for 3rd. Musselman not able to make that spot up. Keho's running the top side and kind of hurting the 54's run. At the same time, another battle. Seb Alexander's lost touch with Jacob Oster, and he's actually just let Mark Murphy by for that 6th position.
It's getting a little bit quiet, and now it's ramped back up. Here's Seb Alexander and Mark Murphy going at it. And Oster, not sure if he's made the adjustments or what's going on, but it looks like they stopped the bleeding now in that number 16 and might actually be starting to track forward. So I wonder if maybe, I know you mentioned before, maybe he was trying to save some fuel potentially, or save some equipment for later, but it looks like now he's starting to go back in the right direction. Similar to the pace we saw at the beginning of this race. Here comes Altona trying to work on David Adams. Nunez up ahead. He's breaking away from 9th. And Altona trying to see if he can secure that spot as these two continue to battle. Ooh. Now for 10th.
Someone hit the wall out of 4. It might have been Lorenzo Bonder and Paolo Vinicius. I couldn't quite tell.
Oh, I just saw him head out.
That would be the 2nd time those 2 have hit. Was it not Bonder who got into him earlier?
No, I think he got into Mike Kitchell or Wayne Hunter earlier. I think it was one of the other 2 cars.
Kitchell and Hunter wrecked themselves. That might have been the 2nd time they came together. I can look back, actually.
Might have been, but it looks like Bonder's going to pull it to pit lane, might end up calling it a race. As Brandon Treno continues to break away from the field. Oh, Chris Keho in the wall.
Oh, man. Those tires are starting to give out a little bit too much at this point.
Yeah, this is what I was a little bit more afraid of.
Didn't lose a spot. He's still battling Musselman off. By the way, that was the 2nd time Vinicius and the 37 of Bonder hit. So I'm sure they're not happy with each other. Keho's still making this work, though.
He's still trying to make it work.
It is letting Jesper Orman get away. Musselman just does not have enough grip to get that bottom line hooked up to make that spot up. What he needs is Jesper Orman to give give the dirty air to Cahill, but he's not going to do that because he'd rather have Cahill holding his closest competitor up. Because Mark Murphy just got Jacob Oster for 5th.
There we go. Murphy passed Sib Alexander, now past Jacob Oster, so he's starting to stretch his legs and push on forward in the number 69 machine.
Julian Altena and David Adams are still side by side for 10th at the same time.
Gotta love it, just constantly running in formation lap after lap. Neither driver wants to give up. All of them want to lead. Looking further down the order. The race shot Craig. Haven't mentioned anything about the 21. He's had some great stints in the previous season. I don't think we ever saw the 21 get to victory lane. And in this race is just in the middle of the field. See if he has any last stretch to the front. 5 top 5s and 10 top 10s last season for the number 21 machine.
Yeah, like you said, I haven't talked about him much. Up 9 positions from the 24th starting position, but definitely a quiet night. Just casually getting some spots here and there. Got a ways to go to get to Joe Branch for that 14th spot. If they battle for 10th long enough. Oh, that is
early.
Early.
He's not going to be able to make it.
Definitely committing to a 2-stop, and that makes me wonder even more. Is Oster, was he just saving fuel trying to make that number work?
Yeah, it really depends. I mean, I expect to see most of the field down in about 10 laps or so. I think we're going to see the cutoff. And we saw these guys able to push just about 45, 46 laps as they're really stretching it. That's what I thought KO was going to try to do. If he stretched it about another 5 laps, it was within the realm of possibility that he could make it.
Yeah, you'd probably really be hoping to try to get the lap 110, give yourself a more obvious line to get to make it on the one and only stop to the very end. I think that's what majority of drivers are going to try to get here. As Altena, now they're trading slide jobs back and forth, Altena and Adams. Shows how much they're battling. Luis Nunez passed both of them. He's 2.5 seconds ahead of this battle now.
Yeah, it looks like Altena's having to yield, and we see Altena's car gets a little too free towards the end of the run. And he's still going for it. I thought he was going to back off. Never mind. He's just building up another charge back to the bottom. Slides back in front, and he will stay ahead, but here comes Adams. Once more on the charge.
So deep in the battle at this point, might as well. Andrew Wood has crashed. There's no yellow, but he has big left front damage. He's on the access road entering the pits, probably ending his night.
From bad night to worse for the number 64 machine. Well, let's see what happened to him. He's been struggling with car handling this entire night. Oh, he just got loose off the corner.
Oh, wow.
And,
the opening. At the opening of the wall, but yeah. Just a bad night gone.
Yeah, this transition right there, that's caught me out several times at this track in particular.
That almost looks like an over-adjustment. We saw him struggling, and he almost looked he had too much understeer earlier. I can only imagine made an adjustment to try to go the opposite direction and went too far. So that's his night done.
Yeah, that's why you got to be very, very careful with the way you make the adjustments on the car. You can't swing too much because you're on the edge of grip. Last thing you need is to step over that edge, because then you end up spinning to the wall or to the outside of the wall or completely losing control. So that's always something to keep an eye for as Nunez runs in behind Burrell. Now, I'm pretty sure these two are teammates, judging by the paint schemes.
They are literally identical, so I would think so. They've been next to each other a lot of this second half of the race so far. But Nunez looks pretty fast right now, 26 flat. He's pretty much mirroring Brandon Treno's times. By the way, David Adams finally completed that pass on Julian Altena.
After working for 20 laps, at least what it feels like, 20 laps. Finally gets it through. Craig Forsythe, Carroll Stout exchanging positions and looking up at Altena and Adams. And you can see them finally single file for the first time in forever. And taking a look back up at the leaders, here's Brandon Treno. Well, about 2 seconds ahead of Jesper Orman, who was not able to quite bring down the gap. He's been managing it around 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 seconds is where he's been hovering at, but he's kept that managed. Musselman trying to catch back up from third. He's trailing in behind the number 4. Murphy in fourth place, Oster in fifth. And then actually it's Nunez, Alexander, and Burrell. Actually, Nunez just catching up to Alexander and getting past him.
Well, a quick note, I didn't notice this until just now, but at some point Tim Holgate got disqualified from the race. I saw on replay he passed someone on the restart on the inside before the line, which he can't do. It almost looked like he served a penalty, but clearly still had a penalty, so that's why we haven't seen his name pop up. He was running about 12th position, but he's out of the race because he got DQ'd by iRacing. I only just noticed that.
A decent amount of attrition so far in this race. We got 24 drivers remaining of the 31 that took the green flag.
David Adams just pit from 9th. That's really the first guy who pit under the last caution to come down.
And this is a scheduled stop. He's going to make it from here to the end. And actually a couple more also on pit lane as well. I see Gary Lovern as well as Hamilton Akabueze.
Still stuck a few laps down. Stuck one down, took the wave, but still that lap down. Seb Alexander's coming in from 7th. Pretty much at the 40 to go mark. You think Treno, Orman, Musselman, they'll probably be down soon.
Yes, they're going to be considering it. I think they might be trying to stay out, maybe in case the caution comes out.
Definitely don't want to get caught.
I think also might be, too, they might be trying to pit at the last second as well, take the least amount of fuel. Have the least amount of fuel in the car, faster you will go. Musselman's trying to catch up to Orman.
Forsyth is in from about 12th. Here comes Treno.
Treno's in, and a late call for Orman off the banking a little bit. Dives down to pit lane.
That leaves Musselman out there to take over the lead.
Oh man, these guys are really, really pushing him on pit lane.
Don't see any penalties this time down though, but Orman did a pretty good job getting onto pit lane. Might have even gained a little on Treno. He was gaining at the end of that run because Treno was having to deal with so much lap traffic. Julian Alton is in, Stouffer's in, Vinicius is in.
Yeah, quite a few drivers coming on down now. Everyone's approaching the end of the fuel stint. AJ Musselman is currently your race leader.
Comes Murphy, Oster, Nunez also in, Branch, Marquez. We haven't talked about AJ Marquez tonight. He's pitting. I think Musselman's going to come down now.
Whoa! Stout trying to block Rashad Craig, and I'm not sure they're racing each other or both pitting. Whoa.
Both racing each other to see who backs out the latest. It was Craig that
pit
time.
Entry.
It was Rashad Craig that time.
Another race off pit lane here. Nunez in behind Jacob Oster, right in behind him.
And here comes Seb Alexander trying to jump all of them. He's going to get by Nunez. See, I don't know if he's going to get Oster. He'll have maybe a run off of 4 to do it, but if he doesn't do it there, he probably won't get this spot.
No, I don't think he's going to get there. At least for now. Might try to build up a run and make a move around him. But up in front, it's Brendan Treno, Chris Cahill back out in second place. The big thing is, does he have enough fuel? I doubt he does, but only he truly knows how much fuel he has. I think for him, he's at this point just to hope and pray for a caution to come out.
I think at this point, you're not going to be able to save, 10 laps worth of fuel, especially when you're on your own. So definitely just hoping for that yellow. That's probably what he's hoping for even to begin with. Maybe go a little longer, get that run. Here comes
Looking found each other.
Once again.
Round 2.
Won't be the last time either. Let's see. Yep, let's start up again. It's going to be just cycling back and forth once again between these two.
Especially now that the tires are fresh. And Adams actually will not take the chance to go make a move. He'll stay in behind and run up top.
After another cycle of pit stops, it spread things out even more. Treno's lead over Chris Cahill is about 3 seconds, and then it's another 0.6 of a second back to Jesper Orman, who's trying to chase down Cahill and get that spot to maybe hope for something to happen to Treno to catch him, but too far back to really do anything at this point. But AJ Musselman had a good pit entry there, and he gained a lot of time on Orman.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to get interesting there. Battle for third. And then, of course, the battle for second place, which we would feel would go to Orman. I don't know what Chris Ko has planned, if he's going to try to fight this or if he's going to focus on his own car race and try to maybe save some fuel. But I feel like that window has definitely closed.
If he wanted to try to save, he would have to do it way earlier. Another battle on the track. Matt Taylor, I haven't talked about the 8 a lot tonight. Interesting scheme on the number 8. This is for 16th of Rayshad Craig.
You're talking about Rayshad Craig earlier. Saw him racing down to pit lane.
Musselman is right on Orman. That battle for second's actually going to heat up now, though. Orman got to the inside of Cahoe. I think he's going to be able to make that pass, but Musselman might have to wait another lap.
Look like he's going to have to do, though. He's going to look to the inside, make a move on KO. And it's tough because he's got to follow in behind Orman. Has to deal with that dirty air, but has to keep that car pushed down to the bottom to make sure he doesn't make contact with the number 57, who is still to his outside.
Orman's going to put dirty air on the nose of Musselman as much
KO
as he can. KO hit the wall, so that battle's going to be done.
Orman up to second place, Musselman up to third. 4.2 seconds between Orman and Treno. That's a tall ask, but I'm sure that Orman's going to try his best to try to see if he can catch up.
I think Musselman might be a little bit faster. I just don't know if he's going to be able to make that pass. So showing some speed, no pun intended. Or say lacking a little bit. Matt Taylor actually just got by him for 15th. And here comes Craig trying to do the same.
Yeah, Schoen, one of the first guys to pit, other than Chris Ko, but he came in fairly early. I think he also... actually, I think he came in around lap 40, so I think he's good. Correction, he pit, I think, around 40 to go.
He hit lap 104.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be probably not possible.
He's stretching it. It might be possible, but he's going to have to fuel save.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to do. I don't know if he's going to be capable of that. That'd be a lot of fuel saving. Mark Murphy just got 4th from Chris Cahoe. Got Oster in 6th, Alexander 7th.
Start ahead in the later part of this run. I mean, still, I am surprised by what happened with Jacob Oster and his car. If it's a mix of damage or just not the setup not working at the night. Into the night.
He definitely hit the wall before that yellow that broke up the green flag run that took out Van de Sant. I just didn't see any visual damage happen to the car, but it's definitely possible if it bent the suspension even a little bit. That changes the setup completely. It changes the handling. It changes the angle of your steering wheel. It could definitely change the balance. So that could have easily happened if we just don't see it visually. Still decently fast, but definitely not where he was. Yeah, as he gets by Cahoe.
Looking like you should be able to get a solid top 5 result pending any major changes to the race from here on out. As Adams and Altona continue their spout, at least a little bit, not as aggressive as it was before.
Definitely bringing the action tonight.
Get some more action. Tony Schoen getting passed by Andrew Marquez. He moves up to 17th in 63.
31 just trying to hold on to something tonight. Probably won't make it, but still had some decent speed at the very least.
That'll start to wind down. And this race just about to tick over to 20 laps to go. Treno, clearly the dominant car up in the front of the field, almost 5 seconds back to Orman.
Wow, who would have seen this coming?
Well, we thought we'd see it maybe be a little bit different compared to last season where he pretty much swept the show. It's funny because if you just look at the broadcast, it almost looked like Treno would have had a miserable season because as soon as we started doing the broadcast, he started to struggle a little bit in the later part of the season, and then Christian Steele had a chance to come back at him, but had an unfortunate string of results where he just couldn't bounce back.
It definitely shows how dominant Brandon Traynor can be at any time. At a track like this, where you would think that even with open setups, you would think it'd be pretty packed up and pretty close quarters, especially at the front with how fast all the drivers at the front are. Putting a 5-second gap, and it's not like this race has gone fully green. He's put on this 5-second gap, yes, with a pit stop in the middle of it, but we went green on lap 74. He's done this in roughly 50, 60 laps, opened up a 5-second lead. That's tough to do in an IndyCar, on an oval especially.
Really, really is. Making it look easy. For everyone watching, Brandon Traynor will set out, see if he can get one more win to his collection and set a solid start to this season. He continues onwards. Not a whole lot of close battles in the track. Really, the closest is between Adams and Altona. Although Seb Alexander is catching up to the back of Chris Cahill, and Nunez and Burrell are somewhat getting closer to each other.
The traffic in between them. That is Hugo Galaz, who has not had the most pace tonight. He's one lap down in 22nd. Jake Coogan's a little further up the road as well. He's 2 laps down in 24th.
Just tries to catch back up. We're going to exchange of positions further down the order. Tony Schoen, Paulo Vinicius, who's had a couple of car contacts. Ooh, gets awfully close to the wall.
Pretty close. It's going to let Christopher have a look for position. Just not quite able to make it stick, even with the clean air on the bottom of the racetrack. And now the 31's going to take that air away. And too far behind them is Traynor. There he is.
Yep, not too far back. I'll probably end up catching them before this race is over. As catch back up to some more action. Here is Nunez versus Alexander. Battle for 7th place.
Nunez has kind of been chasing down Seb for a while now, but that pass is just going to be so tough. They have clean air to work with in front of them, so they're probably just going to stay side by side, but Alexander not going to run out of the corner they needed. Nunez is going to clear. Alexander is going to try to fight this back to the bottom and just dive it in there, trying to regain positioning on the outside of Nunez, and he's going to be able to do it. So these two are going to start slingshotting back and forth a little bit.
Oh yeah, this is far from over. They're going to continue to fight this to the checkered flag. There goes Nunez back on the bottom. You see Burrell, his teammate, catching up as well. So 3-way battle here for 7th place. As they catch up to Chris Cahill, that's going to make this even more interesting.
Cahill is going to come down the pit at just the right time, so Nunez gets the clean air, and that hurts Alexander, actually. That gives Nunez the spot.
Riding on board from up top. You got Alexander taking the mid of the top lane. Burrell running in behind as well, trying to find which lane he wants to go with. As laps continue to wind on down, there's another battle actually going on further down the order. Craig Forsyth and Carroll Stott. Battle for 12th place amongst these two. They go side by side.
You wonder if this is the most Stout could have gotten out of this day, or he could have gotten further up the field. Come from 31st position to be battling for a top 12 is pretty impressive, even with the yellows we've had. A very fast number 43.
Yeah, we talked about a track position and very, very important here, and especially with the green flag runs, it's been hard in some cases to get it, easy for others. Depends on how you have the car set up. Some of them definitely had an easier time in traffic than others.
I don't know how much of a big deal it is. Sorry to cut you off, but that gap of the lead has came down. It was around 5 seconds. It's actually about 3.6 at this point. So Orman faster at this point. That could be Traynor just conserving, making sure he just has some insurance in case it gets a little tight in the final 2 laps on fuel. But still plenty of gap to work with if he needs to save even a little bit.
Yeah, about 1/10 faster for Orman. Not sure that's maybe due to some traffic, but or Traynor backing off just to be a little conservative and work with the lead he's got. bottom. This is on the 42, Paulo Vinicius. He's had his own share of troubles. Ooh. Could have been some more trouble there.
And Ballo's just going to let him by. You'd never want to really get that close to Valuder to get that close to you. You don't want to be the reason for some late race drama. That was incredibly tight.
Here we go. Seb Alexander side by side with Kevin Burrell. Both of them drag race towards turn 1. Fight for 7 places on amongst these two, and you might see similar side by side duel to the end between both of these drivers. You see Julian Alton in the distance. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to catch back up. But Nunes is able to make quick work of Alexander, and Burrell trying to see if he can do the same.
And I think another driver who's had a really good long-run car and could have done better with a better Q position is Luis Nunez. I mean, he started 12th, which is decent, but every time at the end of these runs, he's just rocketing away from drivers. He ran a 25.8 last time by, which is speed that rivals what the leaders have been doing all night long. As Burrell, that got really testy with him and Alexander, but that 14, a lot of speed. Oh,
whoa.
That's tight. He wanted clear up, he didn't get it.
These guys are trying to get their elbows out here in the last couple laps. It's about 5-6 laps to go. Here at Homestead, Brandon Trano, he set off into the distance, plus 3 seconds to second place. Now we're really just looking at to see how the rest of this order plays out. AJ Musselman, I see him. He's trying to cash back up to Orman. I'm not sure if it's too little, too late, but he's definitely going to try in the 54.
Tony Schoen did come down the pit, couldn't make it, so he'll fall off a 19th. But yeah, Musselman started to close in a little bit, just not as much. And Trano is still a little slower than Orman, but the gap is not coming down nearly as fiercely as it was. For the time being, it's smooth sailing. Anything can happen, but that 9 has been in control from the start.
It's been an excellent day in the office for Brandon Trano. Pretty much dominated this race himself and Oster since the drop of the green flag. And Orman slotted into that position, never could quite catch up to him.
Battle for 13th, Forsyth and Rashad Craig are going at it. Forsyth's actually looking to get that spot.
Rashad Craig starting to show, another driver else starting to show some pace here near the end. Started 24th up to 14th.
Oh, Forsyth hit the wall there, right as he cut away. That's great timing. You love when that happens. But he got the spot and then gave it right back up.
So Craig up to 13th position. As the battle started to wind down, everyone's starting to get more and more to their own groove. AJ Musselman trying to see if he had anything to try to catch up to Orman at this point in the run, but I think it might just be enough to just settle for a solid third place position.
That battle for about 13th might go down to the final lap, but there's no battle for the front. There hasn't been much of a battle the entire night at the front. White flag's out.
White flag is out. Trano's been waiting to see that flag all night long. A solid run for him. 112 laps to his name. One more circuit will be 113. He's never really had to look back, and what a way to start a championship campaign. Won the championship last season and is going to be leading the championship points here at a Homestead. Checkered flag for the number 9 machine.
Trano wins, Orman second, Musselman third. David Adams actually ran out of fuel. He was 10th, so he's going to be relegated to 18th, which is a shame for him, but what a job from Trano. Unbelievable drive. Kind of what we're used to seeing from him, though. These are the types of drives that he has. That is win number, unofficially, because maybe Sim Racer Hub's wrong, but on Sim Racer Hub, that is win number 15.
And he raced around one more circuit as well, just to make sure he got the win. He went flying around one more time.
You never know. Gotta be very sure that you got all the laps completed.
Yeah, he's got to be very sure. Don't want to do a Mark Martin, come down one lap early.
No. Can't really dominate much more than that.
No, he really can't. He did everything he needed to do tonight, and no one really could quite hold a candle to him. He gets ready to burn it down.
There we go. I was about to say, can't not do burnouts after that.
And as he lights it down, let's go through our finishing order. Brandon Traino, of course, taking the win. Orman finishing in second place. Musselman in third, rounding out the podium. Then it's Murphy, Oster, Nunez, Burrell, Alexander, Altena, and Joe Branch just able to sneak in at the end for a solid top 10.
And Branch just barely got that spot. Altena fought all day to get the 9th, so good on him. Carol Strout gets all the way to 11th after starting. Shotgun on the field. Incredible drive from him to get to 11th. Rashad Craig gets to 12th. Craig Forsyth gets 13th. All these drivers getting positions. Taylor Marquez, Stouffer, Tyler Vinicius, all getting positions from David Adams running out, coming to the white flag, and he ended a lap down at 18th. So he ran better than that, but does not get that finish he deserved. Chris Cahoe, who gambled, tried to catch a yellow, did not catch it. He finishes 19th. And Hamilton Akaboise, who had the penalty under green, finishes 20th.
Yeah, a bit surprised with Adams that he ran out of fuel. I didn't think it would be that close on the fuel for some of these drivers, but I guess for him, unfortunately, didn't time it correctly. Then heading back into some more drivers who are laps down. Tony Schowen finishing 2 laps down in a 31 car in 21st. Shane Coogan, then Gary Lovren, Galaz, Wood, who had an unfortunate run for his day, had a quick car earlier on, but just kept slipping back. The handling was never there. Bonder, his own issues. Holgate, that black flag. Alexander Van de Sant, the wreck that he was caught up in. Alexander Ball, who was also in that wreck with Van de Sant. Mike Kitchell back in 30th as well.
Final finisher tonight, Wayne Hunter, who's in that crash with Kitchell that brought out the first caution of the day, the final finisher of our 31-car field.
Round out that order, as you mentioned, take a look in the drivers we got to talk to us. And we'll talk first with AJ Musselman. All right, AJ, SimTV booth, got a copy?
Hear you loud and clear.
All right, well, I want to talk to you about your day. Solid run from you, up 6 spots from 9th. It's a solid climb forward. How did your day go from your perspective?
Oh, very happy with that result. Put a lot of laps in over the last couple of weeks and got everything pretty much perfect. Wish we had more Q pace, but we'll take top 10 in this field. Qualifying moved forward all night long, and then kept it off the wall, stayed out of trouble, and we're on the podium.
Yeah, solid run there, especially towards the end. And, walk us through as far as the fuel strategy was going, because we saw it was getting it was after that second caution, I believe, it got a little bit iffy on the strategy. Some drivers coming in a little earlier, some drivers staying out. Do you think that you were going to be able to make it to the end after that second caution, on one stop, or was it committed 2 stop?
It was going to be tight, but I don't think I was going to make it unless the pace slowed down. So I needed to pit just to cover my positions. I didn't want to lose time to people on fresh tires, and figured there'd be more cautions later. So, because end of a run, the cars get pretty loose here, so there normally is a good chance of a caution. But yeah, so I was short. I don't think I was going to make it, but I'm very, very happy with the result.
All right, well, AJ, it was a solid run for you in that 54 machine. Great result for the team. Best of luck to you for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to a great season, and it's always great to watch you guys. SimTV rocks.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for talking to us.
Bye.
And moving on to our second place driver, Jesper Orman. A solid run for you in the number 4 machine. Of course, you're probably a little bit disappointed you couldn't catch the number 9 machine, who seemed to have a rocket ship tonight. But a solid run for you in second place. Jesper, walk us through how your day went.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll take that. I'm really happy with that. We were struggling a little bit with the team practicing. We actually decided to go with an old baseline about 15 minutes before practice was over. So we kind of got a bit lucky, but at the same time, we've been working really hard. I'm really happy for the team with Mark and Seb finishing in top 10, both high up. Obviously, congrats to Traino, and really impressive drive by AJ. He was probably the faster car, I would say, of us two. I managed to be in the right place at the right time, basically track position. So yeah, I take that at P2. Literally couldn't have asked for more.
Yeah, and actually walk us through with the strategy, because or not strategy, sorry, with the setup of the car, because we saw a couple of drivers through the field were really struggling with grip. They're struggling with a lot of understeer, especially in the later parts of the run once his tires started to wear out. Did you feel that setup change helped you out? I know you said it helped you a little bit. You got a little bit lucky compared to the old one.
Definitely. I think we were maybe almost close to 10 degrees cooler on both the front and the right rear, I think. So really helped. Also, our set for some reason allows us to go, full speed down to the apex and then lift and then just basically fast in and fast out. So that's all good. But I don't think I had anything for trainer today, to be honest. Okay, his teammate Oster was struggling a little bit in traffic, so maybe they had, less downforce than we had. But at the same time, I know who I'm up against, and congrats to him. And all good.
All right, that's for a solid result for you to start the season. Second place for the number 4 machine. Thanks for talking to us, and have a good day.
Thanks.
All right, last but certainly not least, our race winner, Brandon Trano in the number 9 machine. Brandon kicking off exactly where you left off last season. A win to start off your championship campaign, defending your title. How'd the race go from your perspective? Because I'm sure it went swell.
Yeah, it was a good race. Pretty simple. Nothing really too crazy other than a little bit of fuel save on the penultimate stint. So, nothing too stressful other than a couple lap cars here and there. But overall, really good race and really good setup.
Yeah, so a super solid run for you. I mean, obviously, looking at the rest of the calendar, we have a little bit of a shorter season for this run of IES. Any tracks you're particularly looking forward to, potentially getting a couple more wins to add to your total?
Not particularly. Just kind of looking to continue what we did last year with I5G and Apex, and hopefully walk away with the championship.
All right, well, Brandon, let's see what you can pull off here for this season. A solid run, kicking off a dominant performance here at Homestead. Best of luck to you for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, and with that, it's going to be wrapping up interviews here from Homestead. Connor, a solid race as usual. Not necessarily a nail-biter towards the end of that, but some solid racing all throughout the field.
So very impressive. I think, if it's not a close battle to the finish, I just hope it's an outstanding drive. And it was by Brandon Trano. It shows why he's one of the more dominant drivers in this series when he's at the top of his game. He showed that tonight, made a statement saying, I am going out. This series is going out with me on top. So definitely a statement win to win by that big of a gap. It could have been bigger if he didn't have to save a little bit of fuel at the end, possibly. But a very good race. A lot of good battling throughout the field, and he had the fuel strategy to go along with it. So pretty excited for the rest of this season already.
Yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the season, and you don't have to wait long because round number 2 will be next week, heading to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. Don't go anywhere because this season is going to be absolutely fantastic. But for now, my name is Finney Kune here with Connor Horn. We'll be signing out from SimTV for tonight. Thank you for watching.